This one is personally for a subscriber called dudewat. I think his name is dudewat. And he's been annoying in the comment section, especially about this Russell Wilson Sierra thing. Okay? He asking how come you can't analyze it? Why do you even listen to it if you don't believe what the fuck we're saying? Me and Rhyme are telling you the same goddamn thing. You don't know these people. You don't know what their personal lives is. This is not a movie. It's not a TV show. In the TV shows, they're giving you archetypes and they're showing you what's behind people's personal lives. It's based on people's personal lives, not the image that we think of them. If they wrote a TV show about Beyonce and Jay-Z, they wouldn't tell you about what goes on a concert or what goes on as far as their projection. They would get behind it and tell you about their personal lives. Would they not? How hard is that to understand? If you watch Insecure, they're not talking about Lawrence at work or Issa at work very much. They're talking about Issa and Lawrence as far as their personal lives as a couple. That's what makes it interesting. That's what we're talking about as far as a theme. We don't know what Russell Wilson and Sierra's personal lives are. You don't know what Russell Wilson is as a person in his personal life. When he closes his door and he's amongst his friends, you don't see that. You assume that you might hear little rumors here and there going on about what Russell Wilson and his friends do in their personal life, but it's not very much because he doesn't let you in. Neither does Sierra. Now, on a TV show, guess what they would do? They would show you the interaction between their mother and their father, or their interaction between their friends, or interaction between each other behind closed doors. That's what TV shows do. So that's why we analyze the story. Russell Wilson and Sierra are not a story. They're not an archetype. They're real people. And if you guys were analyzing them properly and actually doing your research, you would have a better hint of what they may be like in their personal life. Russell Wilson is not who you think he is. Russell Wilson is not the image that Gatorade or Nike or the Seattle Seahawks project of him. There are some guys that show who they really are, whether they play football or basketball. They really show who they really are in person. Some do. Most don't. Russell Wilson does not. You guys think he's an educated lame? Russell Wilson is not a lame. Russell Wilson is, if you really want to know what it is Russell Wilson is a boule. He is a black bourgeoisie. His daddy went to fucking, went to an Ivy League school. What was it? Where does that go? It wasn't Yale. It wasn't Princeton. It was, can't remember the name of an Ivy League school. His dad was an Ivy Leaguer. His dad played football for an Ivy League school. His dad was on the taxi squad for the San Diego Chargers. His dad was an Ivy League lawyer. His fucking grandfather and his paternal grandfathers, who were actually also black bourgeoisie, they were presidents of universities. Russell Wilson carries that regular nice guy image because that's a projection. You think he's an educated lame like you? Bullshit. He's an elite. He ain't you. Russell Wilson has more in common with Barack Obama than he does with you. But he projects like he's an everyday, ordinary guy because that's what's going to drive sales. If you know that he's a black bourgeoisie, he's not going to be cool. Just because he can throw a football doesn't mean shit. He has a very well-crafted image, and that's what I've been trying to tell you guys that for fucking 2 years. You guys won't fucking listen. From what I've heard, if you just go online and look up Russell Wilson's history and what his teammates used to think about, Russell Wilson can be an asshole. Russell Wilson is not a lame. Russell Wilson is not as nice guy as you think he is. He's very competitive. He's very crafty. He's very calculating. He picked Sierra for a reason. Sierra is not running this relationship. Nobody runs Russell Wilson. Not even the Seattle Seahawks. That's how come he left North Carolina, the North Carolina football team, and went to Wisconsin, because they wasn't going to let him start. And he wanted to get to the NFL and he knew how to get there. Russell Wilson is not who you think he is. He's not a wimp. He's not a lame. He's very talented. He's very arrogant. He's got a big ego. He's just the side of a narcissist. And that's what everybody says about him that knows him. So if you think Sierra that comes from a lower class, and trust and believe she's a lower class compared to him. Sierra went to a public high school. Russell Wilson went to private. He went to a private school with mostly white kids. That's like he had a white girlfriend because that girl was in his class. Now, Sierra, as she got famous, rose up to Russell Wilson's class. But guess what? You guys think that Russell Wilson's a fucking simp? Are you fucking kidding me? You guys swallow anything that they put out. And then you come to my channel like I don't know shit. You haven't even done your fucking research. If you look, I found at least 5 different people, including white people, that basically just about called everything except Russell Wilson being an asshole and a narcissist. But you think he's a poor, dim-witted, educated lame that's a fucking wimp. He's about as wimpy as Donald Trump. And if you look at the way the guy projects himself and how he makes sure that his image is squeaky clean, nobody's image is that squeaky clean. Nobody's image is that manicured unless it's done on purpose. Russell Wilson, since he's been in high school, has done a very good job of manicuring his image. And if you don't know him personally, you would never know that. There's some sportcasters that know the dude that will not talk. Just like everybody thought that Tiger Woods was this nice guy and squeaky clean nerd and a squeaky clean image, and Tiger Woods was banging chicks from this side of the country to the next. You don't know these people. There's no way you can be in the NFL and not get caught up. There's no way you can be an all-star quarterback, an all-state quarterback, and not get caught up. Dude was all-state in 2 sports. He's going to have women chasing him from the time he's 13 years old. And you got this image in your mind that you have this sexually repressed, sexually shy dude that can't get no pussy because that's what you want to believe. Got this all-star MVP quarterback that's in the NFL, gone to 2 Super Bowls, and he is sexually inexperienced. Come on now. I know y'all ain't that dumb. Russell Wilson was tossing chicks like Sierra when he was 13 years old. Sierra probably didn't have sex until she got about 17, 18 years old. This dude was tossing chicks probably from the time he got out, from the time he was 12 years old. You guys just don't know that. Did he ever say he was a virgin when he got married? Did he ever say that? Or was he a virgin the whole time he was in high school going with this chick? And we don't know how many chicks he went with in high school because nobody's talking. You don't know what kind of freaky shit they do behind closed doors. I'm in LA. The Lakers and the Dodgers and the Rams, they all do freaky shit. All them niggas run together. Just because you play on a fucking... I got a son that plays as a semi-professional basketball player. He can never run out of pussy. He can never run out of pussy. And he's not a Russell Wilson. He don't have Russell Wilson's money. Russell Wilson has always had money. If you know anything about dudes that always have money and an athlete and a private school and good looking. You think Russell Wilson was a virgin in high school, in middle school? You don't know when Russell Wilson first got his first piece of pussy. You don't know what kind of sexual deviant Russell Wilson could be because you don't know anything about his private life. 0. You're assuming. Just because he told Sierra that she had to be celibate for a year doesn't mean that he was. You hear a story and you assume. You assume that Russell Wilson, because he's such a simp, he let the whole football team run a train on his wife. Have you ever thought that Russell Wilson allowed them to run a train on his wife? Because that's who she was and that's how they got down? Because that's what they do. It's when they're rich and they're powerful and they can get any woman they want, they get bored. Because y'all want So much for Russell Wilson to be the kind of guy that you want him to be. You guys swallowed the whole story. But you guys thought Michael Jordan was a nice guy too. Or Kobe Bryant was a nice guy too, compared to Shaq. You probably think Steph Curry was a virgin before he got married. Come on, dude, what? Give me a goddamn break, man. Me and Ram know people. We know people that have a persona and get down in another fashion. Hell, we know preachers, big time preachers that get up and preach virginity and non-adultery and all kind of shit and gets banging the whole church. Come on, man. Russell Wilson has a very carefully crafted persona to make money. Extremely well crafted persona to make money. Russell Wilson will probably try to run for president one day. Probably don't believe that Barack Obama never had a black girl before Michelle. Probably don't believe that either, do you? Come on, man. If you're going to analyze people and analyze real life, if you're really going to analyze it, do something besides just go by what people say. I can tell that Russell Wilson the persona is very well crafted. I can tell that there's a lot of bullshit in his persona and his media image. I bet you, I'm not even gonna talk about Blake Griffin because that's out in the dude. Anybody in LA that's around that know what went down and why he got traded, then you know about Blake Griffin. I'm not even gonna talk about him because I kind of like Blake Griffin, and basically what he does is what he does. And if he can project their persona, I'm all for him. But it's we ain't gonna talk about Blake Griffin. But anyway, it's okay if you guys have your opinion. It's okay if you guys believe something. But do what, man? You wrote me a book that I did really want to read. You made several comments. Oh, all well and good. But when I make a comment under rhyme, I made one little line under rhyme video. You made your comment. Then you want to make a comment under mine saying exactly the same goddamn thing. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm gonna tell you what you really don't want to. You don't know what the fuck you talk about, man. Because you ain't never been around these niggas. You ain't never been around these athletes. Okay? I have. I know how they get down, especially the higher level athletes. I know shit. I don't even want to talk about it because I know girls that got down with a lot of these guys. And in the press, they keep that shit quiet. And every now and then that shit will slip out. You guys are so intent on believing the media projection that these people put out, especially when you have Google and you can actually Google this guy if you really want to know about him. Y'all so naive, man. It's just, I don't know, man. Y'all just so fucking naive. It's just ridiculous. And when somebody tells you the truth, you don't even want to believe it because you want to believe the bullshit that the press puts out about these particular players, so they can sell you Gatorade in tennis shoes and jackets and stuff like that. You know, they want to make sure that he's got the number one jersey so he gets more money. And Tom Brady's a nice guy too, huh? Anyway, let me jump off of here, man. I just had to get this off my chest, man. Y'all niggas need to grow up. Jesus Christ. No wonder you guys have to take sessions from me and Rom. Jesus Lord. Anyway, BGS out.